Hey, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Courtship Code, brought to you by Black Muslim Single Society and hosted by me, Zara J. Hope you guys are having an awesome week. And of course, I hope that you have been enjoying the previous podcast for our masculinity and femininity series for this season of Courtship Code. Definitely been getting some great feedback. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. As always, make sure that you are subscribing by either hitting that star if you're listening to Anchor. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. Very, very important. It costs you nothing to do those things, and it's a great way to help us grow and to help introduce more people to the Courtship Code and to Black Muslim Single Society. Support, support, support. We love you so much. If you are tuning in and following us on Instagram, Facebook, any other social media platform, LinkedIn, wherever you're finding us, thank you guys so much as always for commenting, liking, sharing, just helping us to grow our community. And of course, if you're interested in matchmaking, or if you are single and looking, whether it's putting your profile into the network or if you're ready for a more one-on-one experience, make sure that you go ahead over to blackmuslimsinglesociety.com. Everything that you need to know is on the website. We are a matchmaking service, not a matrimonial site. It's very different. And we want to meet you. We need to know if you're single. We need to know if you're available. Let us know how we can benefit you. There's also a very special offer on the website, so check that out. We have matchmaking options for everyone, from just entering your profile to a 6-month match membership, or whatever match membership that you need. We have a plethora of options in order to be a benefit to you. We want to work with you. We want to assist you. We want to help you meet people. Let us be a part of your journey. Let us assist you. And the more you invite your friends, your family, whoever it is that you know that's currently looking for a partner to join our match society, the easier it helps us to make matches, and also the easier it is for you to get matched. So make sure that you are spreading the word. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about masculinity and femininity. Sorry, that kind of rolled off my tongue kind of backwards. But we've been talking about these aspects and how they play out in courtship, how to identify them in a partner, and how to identify them within yourself. And during some match meetings over the past week, and also some interactions on social media, people have been asking more about the nurturing aspect, about how to do this in a way that is not problematic, right? Because a lot of times, especially for women, nurturing can also be a little smothering. We nurture our children, or we're kind of taught what that is supposed to look like, but how that manifests in a relationship and how that's supposed to show up in a relationship can be and should be a lot different. So we're going to break down 5 ways to identify if you're actually being nurturing in the relationship, and for men to listen to this too. So this is definitely a podcast that both men and women can listen to. This episode benefit. Again, make sure that you are sharing, send us your feedback, comment on social media. It's so beneficial to us when you do that. So thank you guys for those who always do. And let's get into the topic. So we broke down how to identify a nurturing woman, or how to embody nurturing aspects into your life, into 5 categories, into 5 different topics. I'm going to go through those really quickly today. As always, if you want to schedule a one-on-one session to dive deeper into this, or if you're interested in the femininity coaching course, we can get more into that. Of course, matchmaking with matchmaking clients, the premium matchmaking clients, we always talk about this topic, but we're going to just touch base on this, and inshallah, the podcast to follow will just keep getting into the masculinity and femininity over the rest of this season. So the first thing is being a nurturer versus being his mother. Now, that can be a real challenge for a lot of women, understanding how to nurture versus mother a man. And whether you are a mother, you could be a childless woman as well, or you could be a man. I'm sure you can identify what this looks like. But the difference between being a nurturer and being a mother is is still a protector. Right? When you have a child or children, you just want to hold them close. You want to protect them. You see them walking towards the edge of the pool and you feel like you have to jump in and save them, or you see them about to go down the big slide instead of the baby slide, and you're so terrified for them, and you're not comfortable with that choice that person has made, right? So like I said, with the example of you have the baby slide versus the big slide, and you feel as though, look, you're not ready for the big slide. You're picking the wrong option. You're going down the wrong path. You're making the wrong choice. And I need to save you from that. I need to redirect you. I need to tell you, no, baby, come back over here. Go over to the small slide. Go stay on this obstacle course, stay on this playground. You're not ready for that. You're not there. But that child is like, no, I want to go to the big slide. I'm ready. They're courageous. They're choosing their own path. They're picking their own option, but you want to hold them back. You are scared and terrified that they are going to hurt themselves, that they are going to fall, that they are making a bad decision. You're scared that they're really scared, and you're anticipating that they're not ready to handle that. So you're not fully in support of that option. Well, that's mothering, right? That's how you mother. And even as a mother, at some point, you have to decide to step back and allow them to make that choice. Like, look, they want to go down that big slide. I think they're going to hurt themselves. I don't think so. But I'm just going to step back. Now that's reluctant mothering, right? Like, you're trying to step back, even though you don't really believe that that's still the best choice. But you go, it's like, I'm just going to step back and watch them fall. I'm going to watch them hurt themselves, because you're still in doubt. You're still in doubt. But when you're being a nurturer, that's when they're like, I want to go to the big slide. And you're like, you know what? Go ahead. Come on. Let's go. You ready? You ready? All right. We're doing this. All right. Come on. Come on. I believe in you. All right. You're supporting that path. You're supporting that option. And that's going to boost that child's confidence. That's going to excite them. That's going to make them feel ready. Instead of that parent who's like biting their nails and, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I'm so they're not in full support. And that energy is picked up on. So it's the same thing in a relationship. Being nurturing in a courtship, or being nurturing in a relationship, being nurturing to that man, or identifying a nurturing woman, is a woman that's going to be in full support of the path that man is on. Now, she, shouldn't have necessarily blind faith, but faith in him based upon his track record, based upon his intellect, his foresight, his masculinity, to be able to know and identify that he is going to make the best choice for him. And that choice doesn't come with ease necessarily. That choice doesn't mean that it's going to come without obstacles, but he's making a choice for a path that he has to go down for his own journey, and to be in full support of that, to be his ride or die, to be that woman that believes in his ability to make a good choice for him. So that is how you nurture that man. That's how you nurture that relationship. And it's not always easy. But like the example that I gave, you're going to give a way different boost in confidence and a different experience to that person when you're in full support. Like, okay, if this is what you want to do, this is where you're going, this is the path that you're going down, I'm with it. I'm there. Versus, no, I don't think that you should do that. No, this isn't a good choice. Or okay, you can do it, but I don't really think that you should. I don't think that you should go there. I don't really think that you're going to be able to succeed in this. Two totally different options. So that's the first one. That's the first thing when it comes to identifying a nurturing woman, or if you are a nurturer. So if you don't do that, if it's naturally your instinct to jump in front of your partner, or jump in front of the man and warn him about the mistakes that he's making, or warn him about, the choices that he shouldn't make, or the harms or the dangers. You're stepping into masculine energy to be the protector. You're stepping into his masculine space, and that's going to make him feel less confident in himself, and that's going to make him question himself. So that's not nurturing that man. So if you want to nurture his masculinity, you have to be in support of his masculinity by being his backbone, being his supporter, and being his encourager, and mean it. Not just saying it from an empty place or from the surface, but really mean it wholeheartedly in your heart, and he will know the difference. He'll be able to identify that in you. Number 2, the second thing to identify within a nurturing woman is having your opinions or making suggestions versus telling him what to do. So a man will come to you for comfort. He'll come to you for assurance. He'll come to you for nurturing. He's not necessarily coming to you for critique. He's not coming to you for you to tell him what he needs to do or what he could do better or how he needs to do this. Now, that's not saying that you may not have bad suggestions. You might have some excellent suggestions, some excellent opinions. But when he really wants your advice, when he wants you to give him a little bit of guidance or help him to weigh his options, he's going to come to you for that. But being overly critical, telling him what he needs to do or how he needs to do it or what his options could be, or just always feeling like you need to put him on the right path. That's saying that you don't trust his judgment. That's saying that you feel as though you know what's best and he needs to follow you. And he needs to listen to what you think he should be doing. And you're the leader and you have the best guidance. And that's not going to stroke his masculinity. That's not going to support his masculinity. That's not going to make him feel certain of himself. And it's certainly not going to make him feel comfortable with you. As a woman, he's going to feel emasculated. So be mindful of how you approach opinions and suggestions. Be mindful that when he wants your help, when he wants your opinion, he'll ask for it. And like I said, that doesn't mean that you should never offer your opinion, but I think that you'll know when there's a time and place for it. But definitely don't be overly critical. Don't always knock down his ideas. Don't always tell him what you know over what he knows and why he's always wrong. Because that's saying that you don't trust him. And ultimately, a man wants someone who's going to nurture his path, is going to support his intellect and support his knowledge. And if you don't trust that man's knowledge, if you don't trust his path, then why are you with him? I mean, it's really that simple. And I know for women who are very intelligent, women who are very ambitious, a Black Muslim Single Society, we deal with a lot of Black female professionals. And for them, they've accomplished so much, they've achieved so much, and they trust their own instincts. But the problem is they don't trust a man. They haven't learned to trust not just a man, just anyone else's other than themselves. So you have to break out of that. You have to be willing to trust. You have to be willing to trust. You have to, and we've talked about the trust cycle in the past on a courtship code. And if you're in matchmaking coaching, we've talked about the trust cycle. But you have to be willing to trust, which means that you have to be willing to step back, to lean back, to be an observer, and to allow things to happen, which actually takes us into number 3. So the third way to be a better nurturer or to be a nurturing woman is to allow him to make his own mistakes. Guess what, ladies? That man is human. He's human. He has emotions. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have the wrong answers. He's going to make the wrong choices. And yes, it will impact your life. But guess what? You are signing up for that. You are signing up for you to make mistakes that's going to impact his life, and for him to make mistakes that's going to impact yours. But that's part of the journey, and that's a beautiful part of the journey that you can't avoid and that you don't want to avoid. And interestingly enough, this morning, someone said to me that the older you get, the more you want to avoid pain and the more comfortable you become with being alone. Because it's not so much just about finding someone compatible, it's about avoiding hurt. So, a lot of times for those who are in their, let's say more so in their mid to late 40s and above, 50s, 60s, it becomes less about being single or being lonely because they're very comfortable with themselves. They're used to being alone maybe, and they don't really mind that. What they're scared of is the hurt. Is getting hurt again, going through pain again. And that fear of pain really, really sets in the older you are. That's why, it becomes a little bit easier to get married when you're younger Not just because of options, but more so because of how you view marriage, how you view relationships. You're more open-minded, you're more flexible, you're more patient. As you grow older, as you mature, you go through experiences and you keep those experiences with you, and you really just want to avoid pain. It's like if you've gone to the dentist, plenty of times, and you've had to get a tooth pulled, or you've had to get a root canal or some type of dental work. Yeah, you know what to expect, but you really don't want that pain. So you might try to avoid it at all costs. But you have to let that man make his own mistakes, and you have to be patient. And again, go back to being nurturing with it. Go back to not telling him what to do, but just if he asks for you, once he's made those mistakes, if he asks for your suggestions, if he asks for your opinion, then you offer it. But be kind to him. He's human. He's going to fall down. He's going to hurt himself. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to do things that impact you that you may be a little bit resentful about. You might really despise him for some of the mistakes that he's made, because it might have a big impact on you. But even in that is a lesson for both of you. Even in that is something that both of you had to go through. So you have to be patient with that, but you can't stop him from making his own mistakes. And most importantly, you can't go in on him. You can't attack him whenever he makes a mistake. Because it's going to happen. Just like you make mistakes and you want to be forgiven and you want to be understood, one of the greatest human needs is to be understood. So when you criticize him, when you attack him, when you go off on him, when you resent him, when you hold it against him, when you give him the cold shoulder, when you become dark and cold because he's made mistakes, he doesn't feel understood. He doesn't feel like you understand him. He doesn't feel like you love him, like you're there for him, like you trust him. He doesn't feel that nurturing, loving woman that he thought he was signing up for, that he thought that he married. So, or that he was in courtship with, that he's courting currently. So be patient with his mistakes. Be understanding of his mistakes. I think it's a lot easier to do that in the beginning, but when you keep experiencing mistakes after mistakes with someone, you become less understanding and less patient. But you have to be mindful that he is human, just like you are human. He has a path and a journey that Allah has ordained for him to go down that's going to be filled with hurdles, just like yours has as well. So be understanding of that. Nurture those wounds. When he comes to you after he's done licking his own wounds and he comes to you to get them bandaged up, be there for that. Be there for that. So the next thing is change versus acceptance. A nurturing woman is not out to change that man. She accepts that man for who he is and how he is. And if you can't accept that man for who he is and how he is, then you have picked the wrong man for you. Period. You have picked the wrong man for you. Because you should be at a place where you can look at that person and say, you know what? I know these are your flaws. I know these are the things about you that I don't like, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. This is just who you are. This is just how you are. No person is perfect. But when you are in your masculine state, you are working, you are planning, you have an agenda, you're manipulating, you are trying to change that man. You are trying to mold him from a place of force, not a natural mold where a man just naturally wants to please you or adapt to you or wants to come up to your level, but from a place of very intentional force of trying to shape him into what you think he should be. That's not being nurturing. Being nurturing is seeing him at his truest sense, in his rawest form, and loving him in that. Loving him for just who he is. And like I said, not saying that he can't improve or that he can't come up to your level, but you want to inspire him to change, not force him to change. Not put pressure and apply pressure for him to adapt to what you want him to be, or go to the career field, or do things that you feel like he should be doing. But you want to inspire his actions, motivate his actions to come towards you. And the fifth thing when it comes to being a natural woman, a nurturing woman, is creating safe spaces versus judgment zones. One of the things that's very common for a lot of men to say is that they don't like being judged by a woman. They feel like a lot of women judge them. They judge them for their past choices. They judge them for their mistakes. They judge them about their future. They're just constantly judging them. Every single thing they say, everything they do, what they wear, who their friends are, every single thing is from a place of judgment. Now, that's not saying don't take a good analysis of this man, especially in courtship, but to judge someone is to create a verdict about them, is to, hammer that gavel, whatever it's called, and to just, to strike that down and make a decision of this is what it is, this is who you are. And when you are judging them and not seeing them for being human beings, not creating a safe space for them to show you who they truly are, not creating a safe space for them to just be themselves without you always feeling like, oh, wow, I didn't know that you were into that. Did you just say that? Everything is from a place of judgment where they don't feel like they can fully relax and let their hair down around you. They don't feel like they can be honest with you. They're so afraid to hurt your feelings. They're so afraid to tiptoe around your sensitivities that they can't even tell you how they really feel. They can't tell you what they really want because they know that you're going to judge and that you're going to be really harsh with them. So you have to create safe spaces. You have to allow them to fully express themselves, to show their emotions, whether those are good emotions or bad emotions. You have to give them a safe space to make mistakes. Give them a safe space to be silly, to be funny, to be jealous. Safe spaces for them to really show you who they are and to remove that mask, remove that veil from the world who expects them to be, this unemotional, this non-feeling human being when they're out in the world and everything's about work, and they have to put on a corporate mask, or they have to put on a mask in wherever the workplace is, or they have to constantly adapt and constantly adjust. But when they're with you, they want to just be themselves. But they can't do that if when they come to you, they're still dealing with judgment. They're still being looked at for some choices that they've made in their past. And that could be 10, 15, 20 years ago, and people are still holding it against them. No one wants that. You wouldn't want that, right? So creating a safe space where he can fully be himself. And you do that as a woman by you being the emotional leader, by you being vulnerable, by you being your true self around them. You can't expect for you to pretend to be someone that you're not, or pretend to be feminine, or pretend to be loving, or pretend to care. You're busy pretending to be perfect, pretending to be beautiful, pretending to do all these things where you're just playing a role. You're not being your true self with that man. You're not showing him your emotions. You're not showing him how you really feel. You're hiding yourself. And so because you're hiding yourself, he's hiding himself too. And now neither one of you are being authentic. Neither one of you are really being naked with each other. So you want to make sure that you are being the emotional leader, being vulnerable first, giving him that safe space where he feels very safe and comfortable with you. And then you'll see a different side of him. You'll see him opening up. You'll see emotional connectivity. You'll see him wanting to please you. And when you do that, you'll have a much better relationship, better courtship, and you'll have a marriage that you can really look forward to, that'll have a good foundation from the start. So that's it for today, guys. Those are 5 tips to look at when it comes to a nurturing woman and for a man to identify nurturing qualities in a woman. I hope that you guys really benefited from this. If there's anything that you would like to share, please feel free to comment, send an email, send a message, share this on your social media. We'd love to hear more from you. I love you guys. Thank you always for listening to the podcast, and assalamu alaikum.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.